right, Patrick. Unchained. What's on your mind on this Monday?
I just was informed not long ago, I hadn't looked at the scores, that my favorite high school has reached the Region 7 final in 2A. Rockridge is in the final. My favorite school, of course, since Virginia and Evelyn merged. And apparently nobody on the naming committee had ever seen the movie Blazing Saddles. so they named it Rockridge. And I have been very I just put out a tweet that I had to modify a little bit. We'll take the Finns and Italians, but we don't want the Irish, which is one of the great lines in Blazing Saddles. A movie that, 1974 maybe? We just
Yep.
did the 50th
70s.
anniversary. Never
Mid-70s.
be made. Even with
No.
Donald Trump in office, I don't think we could make that movie. Do you again?
I know. No, I don't.
No,
But
no.
Mel Brooks, arguably his greatest work of art.
Yes, it was. He had the Young Frankenstein was his next one, and he had that red hot period there because Young Frankenstein was great too, and then none of them came close to that after that. But he is he still with us? Did he?
Yeah.
I think he's still
Incredible.
with us. He's like 100, isn't he?
Yeah.
He and Carl Reiner used to have dinner every day until Reiner died about 2 years ago. They'd go over to each other's. How much could they raise for charity by just having people get invited over there to give them $10,000 to sit and listen to them,
Or just stream it and sell it off the street, a live stream of them.
Yeah, God, that was funny. The 2,000-year-old man, which was all spontaneous because Mel Brooks never told Reiner what he was going to say. He was, so he would do anything he could to screw him up. And then, Reiner asked the questions, right? Reiner asked the questions, and Mel Brooks had to give the answers. And Reiner never told him what was coming. So Mel Brooks had to do it all spontaneous. Did you ever see the Martin Short satirical Martin Short was this interviewer, Jimmy Glick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy Glick. Did you ever see his one with Mel Brooks? He says to Mel Brooks, Nazi, what do you got against Nazis?
I haven't seen that.
Nazis. That's all you. And Brooks, again, didn't know it was coming, and he says, what do I have against the Nazis? He says, I thought they were rude. He said,
I've seen it, yes.
The guy was unbelievably quick. It was amazing, but Spaceballs and that stuff was not too good. But the Blazing Saddles and what's the Springtime for Hitler? What's the name of that movie?
Oh, I don't remember
the play
that one.
The play within the play was Springtime for Hitler,
Yeah.
which ran on Broadway forever. That one, but
he was fantastic.
Yeah, he was terrific in his day. But I couldn't believe it when I saw they named themselves.
Perhaps they did know, Pat, and that was the fun of it.
Yeah, but maybe they did. They wanted to have everybody have fun. But those towns were like big rivals. In Virginia, for years, Virginia didn't even have hockey. They were a basketball power. And then later on, they were Evelyn would beat them regularly in hockey. But, Evelyn had a down period in hockey. They've been a little better. I think the town's gotten, kind of refreshed a little bit in recent years, and they've had better hockey teams. But it is interesting. I'm sure the modern students don't know anything about all these old rivalries. That we were trying to do this piece on the Star Tribune. Cassidy on the prep thing was trying to do rivalries, and we kind of made it, Edina versus Wayzata and stuff like that. But I told her, I said, every one of these mergers in Minnesota, every one of these schools that's named after a county now or a part of a county or has 4 different towns in it, They were
Yep.
the rivals. I said those were that's the other interesting angle on rivalries is all the schools that, I mean, back when it was a big rivalry in those towns in the 50s and 60s and 70s are now
Yep.
together. And the modern students don't know anything about the rivalries,
Which is a shame.
but the adults probably come into the arena and still don't sit next to each other, from various towns. But it's, the number of high schools in Minnesota comparatively, if we didn't have charter schools, we wouldn't have nearly as many high schools as we used to have.
The great one from my youth was the old Catholic Don Bosco.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, there was some hate there, some parking lot brawls there.
Yes, there was. There was, yeah. In my prep days at St. Paul, one football game I always had to go to was St. Bernard's versus St. Agnes at Midway Stadium. And somebody sent me a copy of a 0-0 tie that I covered, played in a driving rainstorm at Midway
Wow.
Stadium. And a game that would not have been played today because the field was, I can't remember. Got a real vague memory of it, but it was played in mud up to everybody's ankles. But, the Birdies and the Aggies, and St. Agnes survived. There was the St. Bernard's closed, but St. Agnes is still over there. But yeah, there's the old De La Salle versus everybody was a huge rivalry back then. Well, one thing, they had their own state tournaments till
Yes.
early 70s, I think.
Yeah, like 74.
70, yeah, something like that. Because again, I'm old enough to have covered Hill when Hill High School first arose as a power in hockey and was started winning the Catholic the private school tournament.
Yep.
That was a big deal. That was a break. They would the Catholic school tournament would be played at Aldrich back in those days. They'd play it
Really?
there and they'd fill up Aldrich, and it'd be, they could get a pretty good crowd in Aldrich, probably 2,500 or something. They'd be hanging there. I spent a lot of Saturdays of my youth watching 4 hockey games in Aldrich, so because the city would have a couple of games there, suburbs had a couple of games, Catholics would have a couple of games there. They
I
were
bet that was
always,
cold.
huh?
I said,
Yeah,
I bet that was a little chilly in Aldrich.
well, the other thing about it, Judd, is what we don't remember about high school hockey: 12-minute periods back then. You get the game. I saw a schedule for a city conference that somebody sent me from like the 60s, right? The games
Mhm.
were scheduled an hour and 15 minutes apart. I'm sure they didn't stay on schedule, but
Mhm.
you'd play a high school hockey game if there weren't a lot of penalties in an hour and 15 minutes. So
Yeah, it went from
not
12 to 15 to 17 now, right?
17 now, it's 17. I was out watching my granddaughter's JV team. They're playing 17-minute periods, a JV team. And so it's a much longer game than it used to be.
The
Next,
incredible thing too, Pat, is now what Kennedy played its last game
yes.
last week. Richfield, it's gone. It's been gone for like 5
Yeah.
years now.
Burnsville
Jefferson,
and
are small. Yeah, like the
Burnsville and
change.
Apple Valley are merged. And
Yep.
Chip's doing a piece on that. I think it's going to run sometime this week. I think he already did it on not the death of hockey, but in the near suburbs. But the changes in hockey and it's obviously demographics. A lot of it is, but also cost. Because you look at those old homes in Richfield. The size of those old homes in the bedroom community in Richfield. These are always been starter homes. It's not just a modern phenomenon. They've always been starter homes in those suburbs, and that part of Bloomington too. Those are small places, and the cost is hockey's not cheap either. So
Mhm.
especially if you get parents who want to you know get possessed with the idea of their kid becoming a great player and start spending a lot of money in the summer and lessons and summer teams and the whole thing. But it's that's every sport. Basketball, like high school basketball is they play more games out of high school than they do in high school now between the summer teams and if you're really good. Some of the really good high school players, when they get to be juniors or seniors, play in that Twin Cities Pro League against the good players. So it's a changed world out there, and that's why you have so many one sport specialists. So
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
but go Rockridge. I don't know what their nickname is though.
Well, I'll
I
see if I can
gotta I
find it.
gotta look it up.
Hold on a second.
Rockridge. I don't
I
know
got my
what their
phone right,
nickname. Used to be
right
the
here.
Evelyn Rangers and the Virginia. Can't remember what was Virginia. Wasn't Evelyn was, or were they going? Were they the Golden Eagles? I can't remember what they were. Evelyn was. Evelyn was.
Rockridge High School. Hold on a second here. I'm looking it up. I guess I got to type in nickname too. What's everything? Nickname. Let me see here. It is the nickname for Rockridge High School is the Wolverines.
Okay, that's okay.
That's okay.
I haven't seen a Wolverine up there in years, but that's okay.
It's better than like the Spartans.
Yes, that's right. Wolverines. Did you ever see one? Did you ever see one in your life? Those are supposed to be the meanest. They could eat a bear. Supposedly, those are the
No,
meanest animals in the world, man.
no desire either, Pat.
I never saw one. The hunting slough we had in Murray County when I was a kid was badger like because there used to be badgers. They say you don't want to run into one of them boys either when they're in a bad mood, the badgers. So
They're snippety.
yeah, I think they're
Snip.
just ornery. They're very mean. But I don't know I don't know how it got. Somebody must have saw a badger there in 1880 and decided they call it Badger Lake. I don't know what the deal was, but anyway. So our Wolves looking at another loss this evening in Oklahoma City. Last night they hung around for a while, but sounds is when are some of these fellas going to play? Do we have any idea?
I guess Shams reported last night that Randall and DiVincenzo might come back during the road trip, which is I think that they're on the road a bunch in the next couple of weeks. So at some point in time, next couple of weeks, it sounds like.
I saw a Hines thing. They got 6 games in 9 days or something, and
Yeah.
they're flying all over the country. So
Yeah.
that'll be our excuse now. When this whole thing gets over, they might be 500 at best. What are they? 5 over or 4 over now? They got beat last. They'll be whatever they are. They'll be 1 less after they get beat by 20 tonight. So
And the thing that hurt him last night was the loss of Jalen Clark, who was playing lights out defense until he spiked his head off the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
5
he
over.
doesn't. What are they? 5 over?
Okay. No. 4. Start to be didn't have the score. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, not in St. Paul. We had it in the one we got delivered. Did you not have it in your?
It's not in my paper. At
wow.
Near my doorstep.
You and I aren't that far apart, so I must have been in the lucky 500 that got the score.
Yeah. So 4 over.
Yeah, they. I don't know. They just. I mean, right now they when you're playing this team, you miss Rudy because you got to have somebody to protect the rim against those guys, and they're good, man. Oklahoma City, they went through their torture. They just got rid of everybody, said to hell with it. We're going to rebuild this thing, and now
the trade
the NBA is.
Pat. The Clippers, the trade for SGA is one of the most incredible steals of all time.
Yes, right. Yeah, he was a throw-in basically, right, or something like that.
He was the Paul George trade, right?
Yes. And now who's stuck with Paul George? Philly, right?
Oh, Philly's so screwed. And can't play.
They gave him a big. What are you doing? That league drives me crazy. Giving these 35-year-olds with an injury history all that money. What are they doing? It's just incredibly stupid. They they keep throwing good money after bad. That's why I still can't. I know he's valuable to some degree, and I just said that they needed him last night, Gobert, but I can't figure out why they felt like they should give him a 3-year extension at his age. I know they got him fairly cheap, considering what he was making, but I don't know if you want him around 3 years from now. Do you? I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're Ant, they could have beaten Houston. Ant was awful in the fourth quarter of that game. He can have those. He played good for 3 quarters, and then he was just making stupid shots, stupid plays, stupid decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I see him with the ball all the time, I lose my optimism. That's for sure.
They are now 15-21 in clutch games.
Okay.
So a 5-point game late is a clutch game.
And
They are,
last year they were really good in those games, weren't they?
I
I
think
think
so.
they were. Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that Ant does not make more late shots is a huge
Yes.
factor.
Yeah. And you know me, for 20 years I've been complaining about the idea that your star player should take the 3-pointer at the end of the game to try to win the game. We did it with Butler. We did it with Garnett. They never made them. They weren't that good as shooters. Butler's not a great shooter. Garnett was a terrible shooter. He was a great player, but he was a terrible shooter. But we'd always do the clear out and have him throw up a rock with 6 seconds to go, and then they'd get beat. And now it's the same way with Ant. What's he? How many of those he's made? I don't know.
Oh,
Like
it's late. His
late.
his ineptitude late. I saw the stat last week. I forget exactly what it was, Pat, but it's awful. He's been
It
off
started
late.
about a month ago. Yeah, it
Now,
started about a month
late in
ago.
games, so it's not good at all.
No, and I go back to my basketball guru, as we used to say. Sydney used to say guru, Terry Kunze, who watches more basketball than anybody. He studies it. He's coached. He was a great player and former Gopher, former Duluth Central star, and
Phillies, right?
here, huh?
Coach the Phillies, right?
Phillies, yeah, he coached the
The
Phillies
old
for a
Phillies.
while. Yeah, he was an assistant with the Pipers, I think, or something. Coached
Wow.
junior college too. He's a psycho for basketball. He goes like Sioux Falls for 3 weeks and watches the Class B tournament, and then the Northern Sun tournament, and then the Summit League tournament, and hangs out with his brother and watches hoops. But he's also got every package imaginable for basketball. So he watches all the European games and he watches Australian games and stuff. And he told me this 2 years ago, and I agree with him. He says he loves Ant. He thinks a lot of great stuff about Ant. He says the only problem is every time he shoots, I think he's going to miss. you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
and I kind of have the same attitude.
he's improved a lot
Yeah,
throughout games until the end. That's the problem.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
I don't know. He makes not only not making shots, he makes bad decisions. He's it's hard to rip him because let's face it, uh, he's the first guy to fill the arena since Kevin Garnett left, right?
Right.
I mean, he
Yeah.
fills the arena, and people are still there because of him more than any other reason. And
Mm-hmm.
but he's not, as we were saying at the Olympic time, the future face of the NBA. He's not.
Well, and he's
They
confirmed he doesn't want to be it. So there you go.
That's right. Well, he's that's one of my great things that I love about like national talk radio. Let's once again consume 15 minutes on who's the face of the NBA. I think it depends on who's playing tonight's game. That's who it is. You
Why is that?
dummies.
I don't understand
I
why
don't either.
it's a big, especially now when there's highlights instantly available on
Yes.
social. Like what? Why do we need to find the Jordan? Jordan was in the 80s, the 90s. The
Yes.
world has changed completely since then. We don't need one face.
The NBA
Right.
has the NBA's got issues, but they got balance now more than they've had in a long time. I mean, the
Yes.
fact that, listen, while we talk about big markets, what back in the day, everybody either went to the Celtics or the Lakers, right? And
Mhm.
if somebody, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he was getting traded from Milwaukee, wasn't going to go anywhere but L.A. And that now you're going to have a very good chance you're going to have Cleveland versus Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals, and they won't like it because the ratings are low. But
Yep.
Cleveland's got a better record than Oklahoma City. They've lost 10 games all year.
They destroyed your Knicks on Friday.
Oh God,
Blew them
hundreds.
off the court.
I turned it on like sometime the score was like 105-70. And I said, this one must be over. And it was 4 minutes to go in the third quarter or something like that. They had 100 points, with the third quarter still having a hunk of time left. It was incredible. And then Tibs' team turned around and got their doors blown off by the Celtics, too. They were never in that game.
Yeah.
So the last two have been terrible for the Knicks.
And the great thing about that, Pat, is now the Post and the tabloids are all like, well, this team can only go so far with Cat.
Oh, okay. Is that right?
Already announcing this is going to be it. You saw the best of the best. It's hopeless now.
Now it's because it's Cat's fault that that.
Well, sure, he'll take some of it. Yeah, yes, of course it is.
Yes,
he's the shiny toy.
Yeah, and this is the best. I got news for him. Cat's not a great defender. He's never going to be. But this is Cat getting 18 rebounds a game. You're not getting better than that. That's
I know.
The trouble is they only got 3-4 players, and everybody else. The other night, that Cleveland game, they're down 35. And I'm turning on, and he's got the guy, Cat's out there, Brunson's out there, and the broadcasters are Walt Frazier, who's good, saying, man, might be time to go to the bench here and give these guys some rest because you're not roaring back from 35 down against Cleveland. So
the Knicks guys watch Tibs every night, and they think he's going to the bench.
Yes, yeah. Well, they thought maybe when it was this bad of a slaughter, that he might. Yeah, it is. It's he thinks a little more. He thinks that Brunson needs a little more practice.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to get out there more.
Yeah.
So you covered the Gopher game on Saturday.
They were terrible.
What the hell? What happened? You were talking about.
They had 9 minutes in the first half that they didn't score, and they had 6 minutes in the second half that they didn't score. Penn State was, and Ben came in and gave us his usual, we got to be more, and we got to be more focused and energized. And it was all a bunch of coach nonsense trying to say that, they just got beat by a team that stood in front of them defensively and made them play 27 feet from the basket, and there's not a damn thing they could do about it. They have no inside game whatsoever. Penn State had better guards that pushed them out on the court. Stayed in every time Mitchell or one of the other guards tried to make a move. The guy that from Penn State, number one, a good player, and the other guard, 1, 2, and 3, the three guards, they were right in front of the guy. Mitchell make a little head fake, try to go left, and the guy'd be standing right there. They just ate their lunch defensively.
How do you go to California and sweep them? How do you go to California, sweep those two? And I know that they came back in both, but you sweep those two games, and then you come back here with a nice crowd, it sounded like, and play that poorly.
Yeah, but Penn State, had lost 11 out of 12. They were brutal. But I noticed on Wednesday, when I saw they'd beaten Nebraska by 17, and the big guy who didn't play against the Gophers the first time, 7-footer, was back, my feeling was, okay, Penn State's just as good as the Gophers. They're going to come in here, and there's no talent difference here. So the Gophers got to play their A game. But the Gophers, I wouldn't say they got out-coached. I think they don't have the offensive well, and then Dawson Garcia goes 3 for 16.
Yeah,
they made him take tougher shots than UCLA. I mean, he was fantastic against UCLA. He made everything, but that certainly was not the case the other night. 3 for 16.
Yeah. No, he was bad. He was bad in the first game, right, against the Trojans, and then he was great against the Bruins. But this team
only had 5 points, right?
Something
like that.
But this team, how many home games have they had against teams that they presumably match up against really well? And the Washington game, the Penn State game, where they just play awful.
Yeah, Washington. Can I say, hey, Mrs. Ricey, I'm on the radio here. Could you stop clanging the dishes, please? Thank you. Hello. Thanks. Thanks. I'm down
Well,
here in the kitchen. It's a bad place to be located, I guess.
say hi for me.
I
Say
will.
Judd says hi.
Okay. Well, we're still clanging dishes, so I guess
That's okay. You
everybody's
can
not.
barely hear it. You can barely
Okay.
hear
All
it. Hey,
right.
let's move on. The Twins. I
Don't know
I
what to tell you.
okay. So I watched the game on Sunday, which
Yeah.
was on Twins TV from Pittsburgh's telecast here.
Oh, okay. You already
And
got Twins TV?
I got my Twins. Yep. I subscribed this on Saturday. But here's the thing: I saw the ABS system in use. And I can tell you, Pat, you're going to be really perplexed why they don't just use this, because every time you challenge a call, it takes a couple of seconds to go look at it. It would be easier just to use it across the board and not have to wait for the umpire to make a call that gets challenged. And often it looks like overturned.
They want to put it on the video board so the crowd can go, ooh,
You're
before
not
they.
wrong. Yes.
That's the thing. But you only get how many? Two?
Two, but you get,
But
but
if you're right, you get an extra one? Or
no,
you
if
get
you're
two
right, you
wrong
just keep
ones?
them all.
Oh,
You
you
get
can
two
keep
off.
doing it all game?
Yes.
I don't like that.
It's two. Well, that's what I'm saying is, but Pat, you should see this. So if the ball, so there was one that got
I saw
challenged.
one where it's like 9/10 of an inch, three
Yeah,
three
exactly.
quarters three
Yes.
quarters of an inch. And
Yes.
it's
So what are
stupid.
we doing with humans trying to call? I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah, I know if you're going to do it, but
Just do it.
it's all a gimmick to get somebody to go ooh.
But you're
But
right.
it's not like waiting for a replay in football. Did Josh Allen get a first down or not? Because they get it in 10 seconds anyway. All
Right.
you're doing is embarrassing the umpires, right? But besides,
Correct.
when they judge the umpires, they give them a 2 inch, they can be off by 2 inches, and it's not considered a miss, right? When they give them the stats, but now it's got to be like boom,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Exactly.
it's any player can raise his hand and say, "I want to look at that one." Is that it?
No. Pitcher, catcher, batter. That's it.
Pitcher, yeah, that's what I mean. But
And it's the
but
catcher.
any batter can do it, right?
Yeah. And it looked like if the game against the Pirates was an indication, it looks like it's ordinarily going to be the catcher, which is probably smart.
Mm-hmm. I thought that I saw the batter raise his hand on one of
Oh, you probably
them.
did. Yep.
Yeah, I saw the batter raise his hand on one of them,
Yep.
but I don't know. It's going to save baseball apparently. Nothing else matters. But the alarming thing I saw this weekend, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys Friday. I was watching the Dodger game and they were rattling, and underneath on the crawl, they had the Dodgers signings this
Yeah.
off season. They signed more players than the rest of the league together. They signed
Yes.
like 8 or 9 major leaguers, just everybody to fill a little tiny hole that they thought they had in their roster. They were, and they, 72 million to Canner Scott and stuff like that. It's incredible that they haven't, and they're still, when they show payroll, they still show $2 million for Shohei Ohtani, and idiot Manfred hasn't done anything about it. Just announce that it's all prorated for the length of the contract, right?
Yeah.
Just announce that,
Yeah.
and let the Dodgers try to take you to court or the union. You're gonna win in modern times.
CBA has to end that, right?
Yeah, next time for sure.
The next one.
Well, and they can opt out after this year, the owners, and they certainly are going to. They
Yeah.
can they can opt. There's you and I have both said that there won't be any base, and they can't do what they did. You know, go to court, and they can't end up letting the players take them to court or anything. You got the right to opt out, and there's nothing illegal about it, and you can make them. If you're willing to wait forever. I'm wondering if that might be a reason that I know they would be supposed to be a big deal that the Ishbias bailed here, but
Mhm.
I wonder if that's a reason that some people might be hesitant to dive in with both feet in baseball, because you come in and spend 1.3 billion and you don't have a season next year. That'd be a kick in the shins, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
you're not wrong about that. And here's my question. Forget the players for a second. Can the owners get on the same page themselves?
Well, they can outvote them. They can. They can't. It'll never be 30-0, but
Right.
you can get. I think you need 23 votes for action. I don't think you're going to have a hard time rounding up 23 people to vote against the Dodgers on every issue. Do you?
You probably shouldn't at the rate they're
Because
and but
you got 20 teams that aren't spending any money. Here's
yeah.
the story. The story of the spring that
Hmm.
I haven't seen much done on it is the St. Louis Cardinals fans. The Cardinals have owner has managed to irritate the greatest fan base in sports, and he's insulted them, threatened them because if they have a boycott, and this is the franchise to end all franchises. The Cardinals, the Twins opened down there March 27th, 29th, and 30th. And there's, you know, if you've managed to irritate the St. Louis fan base, you're an idiot, because it's the best. It's been the best in baseball forever, for
Yep.
since the Gas House Gang in the 1920s, for God's sakes.
The
So, but
crowd the crowds late last year
yeah,
in the new Busch Stadium, there was nobody there anymore.
and they had the tickets sold.
Right.
They had never announced a crowd under 30 until like the middle of August last year in
Yep.
Busch Stadium, since it opened, what, 15 years ago, something like
Yep.
that, the new Busch.
Yep.
But then he basically announced, we're going to cut slash salary and start all over again here. And then the fans started talking about a boycott, but it's it ain't good. And it's interesting. You know, somebody. I hope somebody who's down there covering it is out talking to Cardinals fans. So when the Twins go down there.
Yeah, that's incredible. But I think that you're right. Like I think there's a very good chance that we will not see baseball for 2026.
No, it's going to take a while. That's for sure. It depends
Yeah.
upon, they
Talk
got to
to us.
get, you know, more than any sport. The agents have influence. The agents have big influence. And Boris is basically the pseudo commissioner, and with the players, and manages to coerce the player and owners into making offers that are idiotic, and he'll they're gonna they're gonna be threatening you. What you can't do is basically, you just gotta announce that nothing that you're you know uh, dropping that you're taking the option you have
Mhm.
to kill off the current agreement, and just say these are our requirements, and when you want to come over and start talking about it, we'll talk to you. But they gotta show some guts. They've never really managed to. They need better lawyers to tell them what they legally can do here
Yeah.
to shut it down like the NHL did, and then they got to have the resolve to shut it down. So
Correct. And that's the thing where your point about the Twins comes into play, because I could see, like, if you were about to sign an agreement to buy the Twins and the last thing was, oh, by the way, we might not be playing in 26, you're probably going to
Mhm.
be a little bit hesitant to do so. But if they come back with some type of structure, like, that's the thing, is, can you get
Yeah,
any structure? Because right now there's no structure.
yeah. Now the Ishbia were the front runners for the Twins, because they're the only
Yes.
group that we had identified. We have no idea if they were the front runners for the Twins, but if you want to write a story and say that, who can deny it? Because the Twins aren't going to say anything, and you know, so who knows what went on? But there's other groups. I mean, the people I talk to say that there's other groups. I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to put together a Minnesota group and the Pohlads keep 20% and Taylor throws in 100 mil and then somebody else becomes Marty Davis or somebody becomes if Marty Davis and and his family were to get involved, they would need help. They would need a lot of help to get to the point if it's 1.3 billion. But I think they could be the major stakeholder, and he could end up having put together a Minnesota group. Or what I'm saying, Bloomberg buys him. A-Rod runs the baseball team. I can take shots at him every day, and Laurie runs the basketball team, and they got the same ownership, 300 yards apart. Target Field, that'd be pretty good. Target Field, Target Arena, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't be dull, would it?
And Bloomberg, you know how he could handle the financing? Right out the check.
I was going to say, yeah.
104 billion is his estimate.
Free agency wouldn't be a problem for the Minnesota Twins at that point.
No, he's 83. I don't know if he wants to be buying a baseball team, but he might live a long time because he's very short. He doesn't have a lot of body to preserve. I told you that Chris, my son, and I thanks to Sid, we sat behind the mayor and his family at a Yankee series we looked it up. I wrote about it the other day. Was it 07 maybe?
Okay,
07.
Yeah.
We sat behind the mayor, and it's a good seat behind the mayor because even when he stands up, you can see over him. He's a very short guy. But,
very nice.
But, as I said, if he stands on his money, he's very tall. So he'd be very tall. So, but yeah, I didn't really know what when they introduced him as a part of their ownership group. I don't know what that just meant. It just meant to show the NBA, don't worry, we got the money. Right?
Yes. Yes. Because that was the concern.
Yeah. And, A-Rod was the money situation was always A-Rod out looking for his half, and then A-Rod tried to charge a premium to that one outfit that backed out the one.
Oh, that didn't get approved firm, yeah.
The one that backed off because that was going to finance it for him for A-Rod. But so according to the New York Post, which covers A-Rod better than anybody, he tried to charge him as though for the money he was going to borrow, he tried to charge him as though it was worth $2 billion instead of 1.5. So anyway.
Okay.
But we don't. I don't think. I don't imagine Glenn is going to fight this. Do you think? I wouldn't.
I don't think no.
Why waste more money? He probably could just talk to him and make sure they don't sue him back about anything. I don't know. There's nobody that knows less about economics than me. So I'm very proud. I'm very proud to have gone to high school back in the time when, as I said, they showed you how to balance your checkbook. That was economics, baby. That was
which you can still do, which I can't do. So you got that on me, Pat.
I don't do it anymore, though. I just hope that whenever I look at the statement, I just hope that there's still enough there. That's what I do now. So, what else we got? We got the hockey team. Nice win. Come bouncing back.
Very nice.
Missing? Who's still missing?
Well, Kaprizov, and now he's going to be out for, at first, when he had the surgery, they said 4 to 6 weeks. And then Guerin was on with Barrero on Friday and said it's going to be more than that, which is not a surprise.
Damn near the rest of the season.
That's what I was going to say. How much more? Because at some point in time, just shut him down.
Boy, it must have been bad, huh?
Yeah, I think it was a groin / hernia type of thing, and he tried to rest it. He tried to play. Didn't look great. Didn't look terrible. Didn't look great. And then they said, let's just get the surgery done. But I mean, best case, I can't see him playing before the playoffs now.
Yeah. Wow.
Which they're going to make.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're the road warriors, man. They go on the road. They're tough to beat on the road. They're feisty. They come back too.
And you just wait, Pat, because this tournament is going to result in rating spikes. The NHL is going to be through the roof.
Oh yeah, we're going to go through the roof. I
This
think
is
somebody from the Star Tribune should write it that the other league should be more more
no,
like the
no.
NHL.
You know what the
I don't.
NBA has to be saying? What the hell are you guys talking
Yes,
about?
what are you talking
We take
about?
the time off.
Yes, yes. Plus, who are we going to play? We're going to have the Four Nations Cup.
But can
Australia,
you imagine if you told your
Australia.
players,
Yes, yeah,
the players in the hockey players who hadn't had a best on best since 2016, who love that stuff,
yeah.
right? They begged. This was their tournament. They begged for this. The league just gave in.
Well,
Can
yeah,
you
it
imagine?
still wouldn't have been that big a deal if it wasn't for Trumper.
Yeah, well,
If the
but can you
Trumper.
imagine the NBA going to its players and saying, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're
Mhm.
going to take 2 weeks off. We're going to have a best on best. You guys are going to go balls to the wall every
Yeah,
single game."
Jokic, you played in the Olympics, and you're carrying this team on your back because it doesn't have
Yes,
enough players. But now we're going to have Slovenia in this tournament, and you got to play 5 games in 2 weeks. It's
yes.
yeah, it was incredibly stupid, and baseball, yeah, but okay, we're going to bring bring over a series. Play a series against Japan in the middle of the summer. Do you think can we get Trump to insult Japan too?
Yeah.
Maybe we can get fired
Let's
up for
play the
that.
World Baseball Classic.
Mhm.
Let's play it in July instead. And by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah, right.
I'm not sure about you. I still don't really care about that. Like
No,
it's
I don't. I
fine.
don't. I don't care about it either. And plus, if you shut her down and take an extra week off in the middle of the season, now you can play the uh, the World Series completely in November. That'd be great.
What if you ended it
Completely
on
in November.
Christmas Eve?
Yeah, right.
World Series ends December 24th.
I don't know. We
We've
we
gone
are
crazy.
we have gone crazy. The society has gone crazy.
And
We're
other than baseball, do you care? See, here's my thing. Do you care about All-Star games? Because I don't.
I I don't even care about. I say baseball's okay because they play the actual game, and that's not
Right,
a novel statement by me. But I don't care anymore whether you know, having grown up when it was a big deal, the National
right,
League and the American League, I don't care. And the leagues don't care.
right,
It's not like the best of 10 team leagues playing against each other and trying to prove something and having owners who, couldn't stand each other. So no, I don't care about it, but it's, it's worth having because it's,
it's fine.
something. Who's, Kurt, we should mention the ESPN bailing on
Mm,
Major League Baseball. You've been talking about it for 5 years, that ESPN. Listen, when Skipper came in and started running soccer scores on the crawl, and they started doing international soccer and stuff like that. You could tell that baseball was going to be in trouble. And baseball is now in a situation where the most important network in sports, still the most important, even though it's not what it used to be as
sure,
far as dominating,
sure.
would rather put a soccer game on than a baseball game. That tells you how much trouble you're in,
Yeah.
right?
When Baseball Tonight was dropped, that was the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, and then it's been downhill since then.
Yeah.
But here's my question, and as the proud home on 1500 AM of the Looney Tunes, right?
Hmm.
I still don't get what the young crowd sees. What do you see? I was watching the other day for 5, 6 minutes,
Yep.
and they were 5 of those minutes they were playing the ball back and forth at the 50-yard line at
Time of game.
midfield.
Time of
Yeah,
game.
time of game, I guess.
Camaraderie.
Yes,
Because there's a
singing.
whole thing you sing together.
Yes, but you don't. And there's 6 attempts a game in 95 minutes where somebody almost scored a goal. We had according to Marthaler, I talked to him the other day. He's a great
Nobody
guy.
writes as much for the Star Tribune,
I
including you.
told
Bud.
I told him to take a cold shower before the game, before he sits down to write, but anyway, it's not that exciting, but I just don't get it. I mean,
I'm telling you,
what
young
it's,
people.
it's, yeah, I know. And they don't really care if they know who the player is either, right?
No, 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 not at all.
Because it's bongo. They don't have to spell it. It's hey, way to go, bongo.
But it's more
He
about
had
their
his shot.
friends.
Huh?
Their friends are it's more about their friends are at the game and they can go get
Yes.
beers with their friends and they can sing. And baseball is a very relaxed. It's great for us.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's still too long, and you can't solve that really now.
Yeah,
But
no,
and I don't think there's the camaraderie of baseball. There used to be,
no.
but I think because of length now, people just don't have time for it. It's too slow.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I just, well, let's face it, the biggest problem is if you want to be a fan of the game, the ball's not in play nearly enough. That's
Right.
the biggest problem, right?
Exactly.
Soccer, the ball's in play, although usually it's 50 yards away from the goal and it's not a threaten to score. Soccer is the only sport where somebody takes a shot and we're supposed to be excited.
You
Oh,
know what?
wow, we find 8 minutes. We finally had a shot. Good.
I'm amazed that indoor soccer is not still a thing.
I
I
uh,
really am. The young people would love indoor soccer. Nothing but action.
I took my kids to a Strikers game and they never forgave me. They couldn't stand it. But anyway, that was a
Well,
different
probably
thing.
because they like
Who
baseball.
was the Kicks tried it first, right? Indoor, and
Correct.
then the Strikers, right?
Yep. And then the Strikers actually bailed on the outdoor game, I believe, altogether, quit
Yes.
playing it, and just became an indoor team.
And that only lasted, the Robbies owned that, right? That only lasted like 2, 3 years.
Yeah, that
Right?
sounds right.
Out at Met
And
Center. I
and the
told
kicks
you
play
this.
ball.
I told you I was writing columns in St. Paul, and a guy from the Strikers called me up and said, yeah, well, why don't you come out and watch a game, do a column? I said, we're both better off if I don't come out and do a column. I said, I'm doing you a favor by not coming out and doing a column. I like the Robbie family. I like Deborah. She's a pal of mine. So let's just leave each other alone and things will be fine. You don't want me to come out and write a column about
That's probably
Strikers indoor soccer.
sound
Yes,
move. Sound
yes,
move. Hey,
yes, it was.
hey, before we go, sell me a car, Patrick.
I would love to. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, they got a fantastic variety of Buick SUVs. These are the Envision is the one that has caught my eye, and it's the second. There's a smaller one, the Encore, and then there's the Envision. That's a perfect size. The prices right now are fantastic, and the interest rates are low. Factory rebates are high. The inventory is high. You can get 2024s, 2025s. Great deals. Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley. That's where I've done my business for years. And Hastings, just everybody wants an SUV or a heavy duty truck. They have those too, Sierras. So, and lots of those. So, check them out and take care of that kid who's about to turn 16 and it's time. Nice little, maybe a 2-year-old used SUV would be a good idea for her or him.
Very nice. Final thoughts before we depart?
Final thoughts are I'm going to go out and today to Watertown Mayor and write about their wrestlers. And they got a kid there that went into this year with a 99 match winning streak, and he hasn't lost yet this year. And
Wow.
they got three killers out there. And I love wrestling because the idea that that guy across the ring is better, the mat better than you. There's nowhere to go, baby. You're
State
gonna
tournament's
get
next weekend, right?
yes, right this weekend.
Coming
Yeah,
up.
they pack them in, man. They pack them in, and it's such a different breed of cat
Mhm.
that it's fantastic. And one little side thing I love about wrestling are the mothers because they're very nice, polite people, and then the match starts and they're psychopaths when their kids are out there. So I always love that angle too. So anyway, yeah, state wrestling this weekend, and state girls hockey too. No, we finished the girls
We
hockey.
finished girls hockey.
State boys finals this week. We're setting the field this week, right, for the state boys. So
section finals. Yep.
yes,
Exactly right.
all right, good.
All
And
right.
meanwhile, somehow.
Yep.
The Wild are going to sneak in 11 home games in March. Well, that we're reading.
Yeah, they've got like 15 games now. 4 on the road, 11 here. It's unbelievable. I don't know how you clear that much space with the wrestling here, boys hockey, and
just had girls hockey
the
too.
NCHC. It's their last. Right. It's their last tournament at a specific site at the X.
Oh, really? Yeah, they probably don't draw what they with North Dakota being down this year and everything at the Crowley Bad. Oh, that's one thing. Gopher hockey, first place. How does mighty Michigan State go and get beat twice by Penn State? Wow.
Penn State's hot, and the Gophers actually go to Penn State this weekend.
Oh, really? And when is their regular season over? 2 weeks, maybe.
I believe that's it, and then the
playoffs
tournament.
And if they finish first, they don't play the first weekend because it's still a 7-team league, right?
Correct. Yes.
You know who's having a very mediocre season? That's probably raising a little hell up there. North Dakota, right? They're like
they haven't had a good
place. Yeah, that's like having a bad football season at Alabama right there. So anyway. Hey, one more thing. You with Iowa relatives.
Yeah.
And I was looking at wrestling. Iowa defeated Oklahoma State last night. They're number 3 in the country. The only match they lost is Penn State. And everything I see on Twitter is how bad the Brands brothers are as coaches, and we got to get rid of them. Talk about a high standard. Iowa wrestling. They're crazy.
They'll turn on you.
They're insane.
Oh, the Hawkeyes? Kirk is Ferentz is under pressure. Like if they have a couple losses, they get pissed.
But wrestling is, it's the only place in America where a wrestling coach can be rated 3rd in the country, and we want to get rid of both of them.
Yep, exactly
go
right.
Iowa. All right. See you later.
All right. See you later, Patrick. Bye.